The question that is very important to people is, how do I develop good qualities? How do I develop virtues? These virtues are a consequence of purifying the mind. Everybody worldwide wishes to develop virtues, and they strive for it with great effort. But the success is limited because the mind, until it is purified, the virtues will not truly manifest. And the way to purify the mind is bhakti, and bhakti alone. Prema bhagati jala binu raghurai abhiyantar mal kabhu na jai. The Ramayana says, until you clean your chit in the pure water of love for God, the dirt from within will not be washed away. Shuddhayati hinantaratma Krishna padam bhoja bhakti mrite. This is Shankaracharya saying in Prabodh Sudhakar. Until you do bhakti, the antaratma will not be purified. Vedvyas says in the Bhagavatam that dharma which is endowed with satya and daya, truthfulness and kindness, is the highest dharma. And that knowledge, vidya, which is endowed with austerity, is the purest knowledge. But even these two are not sufficient to cleanse the heart. The cleansing requires bhakti or devotion. When we engage in bhakti, slowly the qualities of the soul start manifesting. Virtues are intrinsic to the soul because the soul is a part of the Supreme Soul. God is endowed with infinite virtues, and those are latent to a small extent in the individual soul. When the heart is cleansed, the glories of the soul will naturally manifest. The Bhagavatam says, the 26 wonderful virtues of the celestials will manifest through bhakti. Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathena sati dhavato vahi. Without bhakti, when you are trying to cultivate virtues, you are running on the chariot of the mind. The success is very limited. You keep on reading Power of Positive Thinking, keep on doing it, how to stop worrying and start living. It will all remain theory and be difficult to implement. So, true implementation will happen through bhakti. However, there's a flip side to this. The flip side is that some people think that bhakti will automatically cleanse the heart, and I am doing bhakti, which is the highest dharma. So I have no obligation to follow virtues, truthfulness, kindness, non-violence. Narad is disagreeing with that. He says, look, in the beginning, your bhakti is not perfect, and your defects can trip you. Your anger, your greed, your desire will impede your bhakti. So don't think that you are a Paramahans. In the beginning, do bhakti, but also practice these virtues. Unfortunately, what I see is that devotees often do not pay enough emphasis on these simple qualities of being a good human being. So let this be a reminder. Narad is saying ahimsa. Ahimsa means non-violence. It's a simple thing. Be non-violent. Bhakti requires softness of heart. And himsa or violence hardens your heart. That violence could be through actions where you're hurting someone. It could be through your words or your messages or your emails. Or it could be violence in your thoughts. All of this is violence. And that violence needs to be shed. A devotee is learning to see God in everyone. In that state, where is the question of being violent with anybody? In the time of the Buddha, Angulimal was a very notoriously famous dacoit. Angulimal would kill people, and as a trophy, he would take the person's finger and string it on a necklace around him. So he had a necklace of his victim's fingers, and that is why he had this dreaded name of Angulimal. He was residing in the forest. The Buddha was going ahead and his hundreds of disciples were behind. Angulimal jumped in front of him and spat at him. The Buddha was quiet and said to him then, "Do you have anything further to say?" Angulimal said, "I did not say anything." The Buddha said, "Your act was an indication, an expression that I have noted down, and I am asking you, do you have anything further to say?" Angulimal was silent now. The Buddha quietly moved ahead. And Angulimal saw behind him 1,000 disciples were moving. And he realized if the Buddha had just indicated to them, give him one slap, Angulimal would have been slapped 1,000 times. But the Buddha chose ahimsa. Angulimal was so impressed that I could not snatch this man's peace from him. I wish to attain that kind of peace. He gave up his violent ways and became a disciple of the Buddha. So this idea of ahimsa, don't hurt others by your acts, by your words, by your messages, and by your thoughts. And then is daya. Daya means kindness. Daya means compassion for the other. T.N. Seshan has been a very well-known Chief Election Commissioner of India, retired IAS officer. He was the one responsible for introducing the voter ID system in India. So T.N. Seshan, he relates that he was traveling in a car in the village region, and hanging from a tree he saw the nest of the baya bird. You know, the baya bird has this astonishing nest. So he thought this would be so wonderful if he could get it and keep it in his home. He asked his driver, "Can you arrange for pulling down that nest?" the driver asked a village boy and said, just bring that nest from the tree, I'll give you 10 rupees. The boy said, no. He said, I'll give you 20 rupees. The boy said, no. And then the driver took the boy to T.N. Session. T.N. Session said, I'll give you 100 rupees. Come on, give me that nest. And the boy said, sir, that nest is the home of the baya bird. It has laid its eggs there. And little birds will emerge from that nest. How can I destroy somebody's home for your 100 rupees? T.N. Session said to himself that it was a wake-up call, an eye-opener, that he, an IAS officer from the Indian Administrative Service cadre with the finest of education, did not possess the daya, the kindness and compassion that this little uneducated village boy possessed towards the baya bird. Narad says that cultivate compassion. Now when you do so, actually it is self-rewarding. It is in helping others that you get helped yourself. When you harbor thoughts of benefiting others, these thoughts reside in your heart. And thereby they purify and uplift you. So each time you think of the benefit of others, you end up benefiting yourself. One person, when he would come to the bus stand, there was an old lady who was selling oranges. This young man would purchase 1 kg of oranges. In front of her, he would open one, taste it, and say, this is sour, and he would put it there. And she would taste it and say, sir, it is not sour. Nevertheless, he would take the remaining oranges and go. And this was a daily ritual. He would continue purchasing 1 kg from the same lady. He would pull out 1 orange, complain about it, get her to taste it, and then go. His friend one day asked that when you are disgusted with her oranges, then why do you continue to purchase from her? He said, I am not disgusted with the oranges. I see that she is working so hard. So I use it as a ploy to make her at least eat 1 orange. I tell her, this is sour, eat it. Now he said that and they went into the bus. That old orange seller had a friend by her side. The friend said, this man continues to complain on a daily basis. Why is it that you keep on selling to him? The orange selling lady said, I know what he is up to. He is just trying to feed me an extra orange. He doesn't have any bad intent. But he doesn't realize every time he does it, I add an extra orange on this side for him to take with him. So the eternal principle is that when you help others, you get helped. Saint Kabir said, Daan diye dhan na ghate, nadi na ghate neer, apne aankh dekh lo, yon kya kahe Kabir. When you give in charity, you never get impoverished. Ever heard of anybody becoming impoverished by giving in charity? You know, about 1.5 decades ago, Warren Buffett gave half his fortune, $35 billion, to the Bill Gates Foundation. But it's not that he became poor. It all came back. So Kabir says, look at the river. So many people take water out from the river. But the river doesn't become dried up. It is always in giving that we receive. And in the case of the Lord, it is even more so. By being miserly, we hurt ourselves. By starting to give, we expand our own heart. 2 farmers died. One was a generous farmer and one was a miserly farmer. After death, they went to meet God. And one said, my Lord, so many people used to come to me begging for donations. In my next life, arrange such that nobody should come to me for donations. The generous farmer said, my Lord, I have got one regret. You gave me everything. But I did not have enough to give. And I had to say no to a few people who would ask. The next life, please arrange that I should never have to say no to anyone. In the next life, that generous farmer became the Nagar Seth. The Nagar Seth is the big businessman of the town, so that he could keep on giving and not say no to anyone. And the miserly farmer became a beggar, so nobody would ever come to him. That was his wish. Again, by our own giving, we benefit ourselves. By our own miserliness, we hurt ourselves. So daya, kindness towards others, is what Narad is recommending.
Join Jagadguru Kripaluji University, now offering BTech in AI, Data Science, FinTech and AI/ML. Pursue BCA in Cybersecurity and Cloud Computing, BDes in Animation and VFX. Secure your future with integrated BBA, MBA in FinTech and Investment Banking. Also offering BSc, MSc in Applied Microbiology, Yogic Sciences and BNYS. Apply now at jku.edu.in.